Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, when we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And in today's episode, it's a very serious topic, and the topic is Kawhi Leonard is going to leave the Clippers if nothing changes. So that's the topic I'm going to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also, we have our Dreamerspro Max online sports community, a community that we created. It's a place where you can go start basketball discussions and debates. It's a place where you can chat live during games and go live with us after games like last night, where I'm sure a lot of you guys had a lot to say. We could take questions and kind of go over our thoughts. It's a place where you can also consume original content that you're going to you're not going to be able to get anywhere else. And so many other things. So if you guys want to check this out and be a part of it, make sure you check it out. We have it linked in the description below. Get 7 days of free access. You don't want to miss it. I'm sure last night a lot of you guys had something to say on what happened on the game. Would have been able to do that last night. But on the channel, if you just leave random comments, it doesn't really work. So make sure you check it out and get 7 days of free access so you can see what it's all about. Anyway, let me get into this video here. Right? I actually woke up in a very calm mood, right? Because all of my thoughts that I wanted to discuss today, I pretty much was able to get them right after I finished watching the game, right? After I finished watching the game, everything became clear to me. We were on the live chat, and some guys, I understood, they were pretty frustrated. They were like, listen, man, I'm out. I can't even make it to the end of this game. It's too frustrating. So I understand. So during the live chat yesterday, about 5 minutes into the game, I said in the chat, I said, I hope the Clippers are not overlooking the Pelicans. That's what I said to myself, because the minute I saw, was it Paul George had the turnover off his foot or something like this, I was like, okay, I hope they're not overlooking this team. That's what I said to myself first. And after 8 minutes in the game, I said, this game is over. That's what I said after about 8 minutes in the game. I said, this game is over. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. You could look at the Clippers and understand very, very quickly that this team was not prepared to play, and they were just going back to business as usual of being an inconsistent team. But before I get into my thoughts and everything else, I watched the post game. I usually watch the post game conference interviews with the coaches and players. I want you guys to take a listen to what Kawhi Leonard said yesterday when he was questioned about the direction of the Clippers, the team. Take a listen to what Kawhi Leonard said.
What is your level of concern with the team kind of showing what they're capable of, but also consistently falling back into some of the same weaknesses, bad habits?
I mean, it's very concerning. If we want to have a chance at anything, you got to be consistent. That's what the great teams do. They're consistent. They have their nights when, the energy's not there. But, it's all about consistency from a team to players to coaching. That's what makes a team great, players great, coaches great. The consistency of being, wanting to win and doing pretty much the same habits of winning.
Now, in that soundbite, you can clearly hear that Kawhi Leonard was very alarmed. And he said, it's alarming at our level of inconsistency. I also saw the interview with Tyronn Lue. I can't even show it to you because he was cursing. And the guy had every single right to be upset. He was cursing, so we're not going to play that audio. Okay. And I realized pretty much what Kawhi Leonard realized, but what I realized was this. I realized that the issue was this team was very talented. They have very talented basketball players. If you just look at their roster and you look at the talent that they have very talented players, but their roster is full of low IQ players. And that was something that Kawhi even said in his comment. He said, we're very inconsistent from a team, the players, and even the coaches, right? They have a team full of low IQ players. Do you remember last season at the end of the playoffs, what did Kawhi Leonard say? What was one of the things that he mentioned that needed to improve for this roster this year? He said, we also need to improve our basketball IQ as a team. That's what he said, right? He said we need to improve our basketball IQ as a team. Otherwise, we're not going to have a shot. Now, they did so with the addition of some key players like Serge Ibaka and Nicholas Batum. But what's been the story of the Clippers this season? Injuries. So, for example, Serge last night after the first quarter went out of the game. So he's not even back. So you didn't even have Serge on the floor. And that's one of the reasons he wanted somebody like a Serge Ibaka, because he knew that he had a high IQ player on the team. Another issue with the Clippers is this. I think they have a very bad mix of talent. When you look at the Clippers roster and you peel through it and you look at it, right? If you look at the players individually, as I said, they're very talented. But if you look at the combination of players and how they match with one another, you see there's a lot of misfits on this team. Okay, right? They have a roster full of players that are usually injury prone, like Patrick Beverley, who I love. I love Patrick Beverley for his defensive intensity. He's the heartbeat of the team emotionally, and is also one of these straight shooters that likes to call guys out when they're not doing the right thing. The problem with Patrick Beverley is that he's always injured. Patrick Beverley, of the 40 games this season, Patrick Beverley has only played 29 games. So he's missed about a quarter of the season, just over a quarter of the season to injuries, right? So that's one of the issues. And here's what I think. I think that if something doesn't change, if there's no change in this Clippers team, I truly believe at the end of this season, Kawhi Leonard is going to leave the Clippers. This is what I believe this. And here's why. Kawhi Leonard is a very smart basketball player, he himself. But there's a fundamental difference between him and other players. Okay, let's compare him to Kobe. Kobe was a disciplinarian. Jordan was a disciplinarian. LeBron is a guy that, coddles guys and brings guys in, puts guys around his shoulder, although he can be passive aggressive. Kawhi is none of these guys. Kawhi is a very reserved guy. He's to himself. He doesn't really talk. If you look at his career when he started with the San Antonio Spurs, he was on a team full of very smart guys that understood how to win, and he had a lot of great communicators on that team. So he didn't need to communicate. And number one, he was the young guy on the team. So what are you communicating? Nobody's asking you your opinion. You're a rookie on the team. When you have Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, and Tim Duncan, you go to the Toronto Raptors, who had a roster full of very smart players, very high IQ players like Kyle Lowry, leaders, vocal guys, but guys that just couldn't get over the hump. He was able to be the guy that said, listen, I've gotten there. Let me help you guys get over the hump. So he was on a team full of guys that were very, very smart, very high IQ players, but also vocal leaders, guys that can communicate properly to guys. Whereas Kawhi, he himself, he's not a guy that's going to sit here and start telling you this and telling you that, I feel like Kawhi is the type of person where he does his prep, he does his research, he does his scouting, and then when he goes out there and he sees that guys don't know what they're doing, he's just one of these guys that says to himself, I'm playing with a bunch of fools. I don't think he's going to vocally chew guys out, or maybe sometimes he does. Another reason why I think Kawhi Leonard will leave, going back to their bad IQ, if you watch that game, I was saying it during the chat, I truly believe that a lot of these Clippers players do not read scouting reports. I truly believe that. Kawhi has mentioned the fact that a lot of times late in games, guys don't even know what plays we're supposed to be running. Guys, that's a problem. Do you hear what I'm saying? That is a major problem. That's not even funny. It's tantamount to be on a team, okay? Or let's say you're on a startup, and you guys are doing investments. You guys are trying to pitch to VCs, venture capitalists, or angel investors, whatever you want to call them. And you have smart guys on the team. You guys are building a software or app, whatever it is. The only problem is these guys are very smart at engineering and math and all of this different stuff, but they're lousy at preparation. So you go into these meetings, and guys don't really know what they haven't really prepped for these meetings. They don't know. They're not prepared for all of the questions that they may be asked. They don't do the research before getting there. It has nothing to do with whether or not you're dumb or smart. You're smart, but you don't do the research. You don't do the background work. You don't prep. So when you get to these meetings, they're asking you questions and you don't have answers because you're not prepared. It has nothing to do with whether or not you're smart or not. You're just not prepared. You're not ready for the moment. And I feel like that's what's happening with the Clippers. You have a bunch of guys who are very talented, but are not. They don't. It's like they don't really understand what's necessary to win. You look at a lot of the plays yesterday. Guys are chasing. Think about this. You're chasing guys. You're running at guys at the end of the shot clock. Guys that are like 30 feet out, 27 feet out. You're running at guy. Why are you running at somebody with full speed with a shot clock at 4 seconds and you're running at this guy? This guy, all you need to do is just get in front of him because he's gonna shoot. He's not looking to shoot. You're running past guys are gonna drive and breaking your defense down. I think a lot of the players, you were looking at them, they were overplaying guys, and I'm like, do they even read the percentages of these guys? You're running at guys. Do you know his percentage of what he shoots? Watch videos of Kobe. Kobe knows that, okay, listen, this guy shoots this particular percentage from this spot of the floor. So I don't need to overplay him. The Clippers yesterday was just like, you're looking at the players and you're like, what are these guys doing? We were saying this in the chat. So let me summarize this because we have content to get to today. Here's what I think. I think Kawhi Leonard has if I had to put a percentage on it, I think it's like 51-49% that he's going to leave the Clippers at the end of the season. That's what I think. I think Kawhi's understanding that being at home and having nice weather truly doesn't matter. It truly doesn't matter. It's not, again, I said this earlier, I'm going to say it again. 28, 30, 35, your concern should not be the weather in your life. If you're concerned about, I want to be by the beach and see the sun, that's not important. You should be focused on building yourself and hustling and building your legacy. Michael Jordan, for God's sakes, is not even from Chicago, Illinois. I think he's from North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. Jordan played. I've never been to Chicago, but I've heard that Chicago is one of the coldest places in the world during wintertime, and they call it the Windy City. They said it's treacherously cold. Jordan played his entire career in Chicago, and he won championships. I never once heard a story of Jordan thinking to go play with the Orlando Magic because he wanted some sunlight, or thinking to go play with the Lakers. The weather is not important. You're supposed to be hustling and building yourself. Forget about the weather. If it's true that Kawhi came back to LA for the weather and his family, that is absurd. I'll say it again. It is absurd. If you're as rich as these guys, you're making 30, 40 million a year, my guy, you can move your family to wherever the hell you want them to be in this world. Truly. You can employ them and they can come live with you. Saying that I want to be back to look at the weather or look at the coastline, that's not a good reason. So, I think Kawhi Leonard is having his wake-up call. And the wake-up call is, whoa. I might have made a mistake. Instead of preoccupying myself about being home, I don't know what does that even mean, being home? Is it that you want to see the people you went to high school with, or you want to see want to go to your favorite Chipotle? Like, what does it mean, I'm being home? Or see your parents, see your mom, your mom can be wherever you are. I think Kawhi is realizing that it's not about the weather, that I based my decision on the wrong thing. Instead, I should have focused on winning. Truth be told, although Messiah wasn't willing to give up Pascal, so I understand that, but this thing of going back to LA to be home and being because of the weather, I don't understand it. And I think Kawhi Leonard is going to come to a realization at the end of this season as a free agent. If this team doesn't break through, he's going to leave. You can go play with the Golden State Warriors. Go play with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Go play somewhere else. Go play where you can give yourself a shot. Because it's currently constructed, these guys are not very hot. They're not smart. I already told you what I thought about the Lou Williamses of the world. I've already given you guys my opinion on this. So for me, if the Clippers don't make it to the NBA Finals, Kawhi Leonard will leave. And if he stays, I don't know exactly why he would be wanting to do that. So what I want to know from you guys, what do you think? Because I don't think Kawhi Leonard can overcome this team. He can play well, but you can't overcome a team. You just can't. You can't look at the game last night. He was the only one that really looked like he knew what the hell he was doing out there. So for me, I think he's going to leave if things don't, these guys don't shape up. what I want to know from you guys is, what do you think? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro, wishing you guys an amazing day. Catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.